Have you ever been in a situation where someone sets you up to fail, only to have you turn the tables in the most unexpected way? What if you were in a room filled with skeptics, all waiting for you to stumble, and then you not only succeeded, but also silenced every doubter with a display of brilliance? This is the story of a moment that shook a prestigious academic hall and left an entire audience questioning their preconceptions, when a renowned liberal calculus professor attempted to humiliate Barron Trump with a seemingly impossible math challenge, only to be stunned by his unexpected genius. It all began on a crisp autumn afternoon at one of the nation's most respected universities. The atmosphere in the lecture hall was electric, a mix of anticipation, intellectual curiosity, and a touch of controversy. The professor, known for his progressive views and razor-sharp wit, had built a reputation for challenging his students in ways that were as provocative as they were enlightening. Today, however, he had a different target in mind: Barron Trump, a young man who had long been underestimated by many simply because of preconceived notions about his background. As the class settled into their seats, the professor strode to the front of the room with an air of confident arrogance. He greeted the students with his customary smile, but there was something in his eyes, a spark of mischief and challenge, that hinted at what was to come. With a flourish, he wrote a complicated calculus problem on the board, one that involved intricate derivatives and integrals, a problem designed to trip up even the most capable of minds. The room fell silent as the professor looked directly at Barron, a subtle yet unmistakable challenge in his gaze. "Barron," he said, his voice carrying a hint of condescension, "I'd like you to solve this problem on the board. Let's see if your reputation for excellence holds true." A murmur ran through the hall. Students exchanged glances, some with disbelief, others with excitement. Was this really happening? Barron, who had mostly remained quiet and reserved, had been thrust into the spotlight in a way that no one could have anticipated. For a brief moment, time seemed to slow. The professor's challenge was not just about mathematics, it was about power, reputation, and the deep-seated assumptions that often accompany youth and privilege. Barron stepped forward slowly, his face calm and composed. As he approached the board, the air in the room grew thick with tension. With a deep breath, he picked up a marker and began to write. Every stroke of the marker was deliberate and measured, as if each line of algebra and calculus was a well-rehearsed symphony. His hand moved with surprising speed and precision, outlining the framework of the solution before diving into the more challenging aspects of the problem. The professor watched intently, his smile faltering just a little as he noticed the confident determination in Barron's eyes. As Barron began to break down the problem into manageable parts, a series of questions started to form in the minds of the students. How could this young man, who many had written off as unremarkable, possibly be so adept at handling such a formidable mathematical challenge? Each step that Barron took on the board was accompanied by a whisper of amazement from the audience. Barron explained his reasoning clearly, almost as if he were narrating a story. "We begin by recognizing that the derivative of the function is not merely a number, but a representation of the rate of change," he said, his voice steady and authoritative. His explanation was both detailed and accessible, revealing not only his deep understanding of the subject matter, but also his ability to communicate complex ideas in a way that resonated with everyone in the room. As he moved from one line of calculation to the next, the professor's earlier bravado gave way to a look of growing concern. Questions began to ripple through the audience. Was this the same Barron they had heard about in hushed tones? The young man, who had always been dismissed as just a privileged bystander, was now holding the floor with the poise of a seasoned scholar. With every equation solved and every integral computed, the professor's challenge transformed into an opportunity, a chance for Barron to redefine his narrative. His voice grew stronger with each explanation, and soon, the initial tension in the room turned into a buzz of excitement and admiration. The professor, unable to mask his disbelief, finally interjected, "That's quite impressive, Barron, but can you also explain the underlying theory behind this approach?" It was a question meant to trip him up, to force him into a deeper level of scrutiny, but instead of faltering, Barron's eyes lit up with a quiet determination. "Certainly," he replied, and proceeded to articulate the theoretical foundations of his solution. He delved into the nuances of differential equations and the beauty of mathematical symmetry, drawing connections that even the professor had not considered. Each word was filled with conviction and clarity, and it soon became apparent that this was not an act of bravado, but a genuine demonstration of intellectual prowess. The atmosphere in the lecture hall shifted dramatically. What had started as a calculated attempt to embarrass a student had evolved into a masterclass in mathematics. The professor's challenge had inadvertently given Barron the stage to shine, and the audience was fully captivated. Students scribbled notes furiously, trying to capture every detail of the elegant solution unfolding before them. Some even dared to whisper, "He's a genius," while others nodded in agreement, their skepticism replaced by genuine admiration. As Barron reached the final steps of his solution, a profound silence fell over the room. Every calculation was complete, every variable accounted for, and the answer, gleaming on the board, was irrefutable. For a moment, there was nothing but the quiet hum of collective awe. Then, almost as if on cue, the room erupted into applause. The sound was deafening, a mix of clapping, cheers, and exclamations of disbelief. Even the professor, who had expected to be the center of attention, was left speechless. His eyes, once brimming with arrogance, now reflected the humility of having been proven wrong. After the applause died down, the professor approached Barron. "I must admit," he said, his voice tinged with both respect and a hint of regret, "I underestimated you today. Your solution was not only correct, but also brilliantly presented." The statement, though few in number, carried the weight of a lesson learned. It was a turning point, not just for Barron, but for everyone present. The event was not about one person's triumph over another. It was about challenging the limits of expectation and recognizing that brilliance can come from the most unexpected sources. In the days that followed, the story of that remarkable day spread like wildfire. Articles were written, social media buzzed with praise, and debates erupted about the role of preconceptions in education. Many argued that this moment was a reminder that talent and intelligence cannot be measured by appearance, background, or preconceived notions. The incident became a symbol of empowerment, a testament to the idea that every individual, regardless of their past, has the potential to rise above the doubters and achieve greatness. Barron, who had been thrust into the spotlight by a challenge meant to embarrass him, emerged as a beacon of inspiration for students and thinkers everywhere. His calm, confident demeanor and his ability to articulate complex mathematical concepts with ease resonated with a generation that often felt marginalized by traditional academic expectations. It wasn't long before he was invited to speak at various educational events, where he shared not only his solution to that fateful problem, but also his journey of overcoming doubts and defying stereotypes. Throughout his subsequent interviews, Barron emphasized that his achievement was not a one-time stroke of luck. It's about hard work, perseverance, and the belief that you can always learn and grow, he explained in one interview. When someone underestimates you, use it as fuel to prove them wrong. Every challenge is an opportunity to discover your true potential. His words struck a chord with many, sparking a movement among students to challenge traditional hierarchies and demand a more inclusive, supportive educational environment. Meanwhile, the professor, whose initial arrogance had been thoroughly dismantled, began to reassess his approach to teaching and challenging students. In a heartfelt public statement, he admitted that his intent to provoke had inadvertently overlooked the vast potential of his students. "Today was a lesson for all of us," he said. "It reminded me that every mind holds its own unique brilliance. I hope this serves as an inspiration for educators to foster curiosity rather than fear, and to embrace the unexpected talents that lie within each of our students." The incident also sparked broader discussions on the role of public education and the importance of nurturing talent, regardless of one's background. It became clear that the true measure of intelligence was not confined to the boundaries of traditional assessments, but rather in the courage to question, the determination to learn, and the resilience to overcome challenges. Barron's moment of triumph was a powerful reminder that genius is not exclusive. It is a spark that can ignite in anyone, given the right conditions and the opportunity to shine. As time passed, the memory of that day continued to inspire countless individuals. Teachers began to adopt more encouraging and supportive methods in their classrooms, striving to create environments where every student felt valued and capable. Educational institutions started to re-examine their criteria for success, shifting the focus from rigid metrics to a more holistic understanding of intelligence and creativity. And for Barron, the experience was a transformative milestone, a moment that redefined his identity and set him on a path toward a future filled with promise and possibility. In retrospect, that day in the lecture hall was more than just an academic showdown. It was a celebration of human potential, a call to break free from the confines of narrow expectations, and a vivid reminder that every individual has the power to surprise, inspire, and lead. It was a moment when a challenge turned into an opportunity, when a professor's attempt at humiliation became a catalyst for change, and when one young man's undeniable genius captured the hearts and minds of an entire community. So, ask yourself, when have you been underestimated? And what will you do the next time someone tries to write you off before you've even had a chance to prove your worth? The story of Barron Trump's remarkable display of mathematical genius reminds us all that every challenge is an opportunity in disguise, a chance to rewrite the rules, shatter expectations, and emerge as a true champion of your own destiny.